Hey everyone, we are here again with another AAPCA podcast. I'm your host, Larry Howard, also known as Coach Proof. And today we have Marquise. He has been an active member with the AAPCA. He's also a coach with the Minnesota Vikings. We're excited to have him for this podcast episode to be able to talk about his journey as an African-American strength conditioning coach and how this organization has played a role in his life and the things that he does in our community. Thanks for having me. Thank you for being on this podcast.
No problem. No problem. Look forward to it.
So starting out, I wanted to just kind of get some background as to how you got into strength and conditioning coaching profession. What was your journey? What led you to it? Kind of walk us through how you got to where you are today.
Cool. Well, I played football at Prairie View A&M University, and once I got done, I was trying to find a way to get my. So I asked my college coaches, how could I get that done? So because I saw guys I played with become GAs and things of that nature on the football side of things. But I asked my position coach at the time, my man, Coach P, I asked him, hey, Coach, I'm trying to be a GA somewhere. He's like, all right. And he found something for me, chance and opportunity at Eastern Michigan. And he told me it was in football and in the weight room. But strength and condition wasn't necessarily at that time like that. So then I ran with it. Long story short, I interviewed and my mom flew me down there at the time. I was, college kid or whatnot. And ended up at Eastern Michigan. It was a great experience for me there. I was there 2.5 years. I got my start working with teams. I worked for a great man, Mike Surgeon. He gave me my first. I was a grad assistant. I ended up being an assistant, and I ended up being the interim head guy there for a couple of months. It set the start of my career. It was set the base of my career. And a lot of things I used way back when. Now I'm 39 years old, or what now? I was 22, 23. A lot of things that happened that then I still use today, and I loved it.
Okay.
Yeah, because I worked with a lot of different teams, like I can't leave that out. I didn't just work with football and stay with football. I was the head men's women's basketball. All the athletes still hit me up till this day, no matter, especially like I'm in the city where they are near them. The women's gymnastics team was always good to me. Those athletes at Eastern Michigan, they basically shaped my career. Like, the rowing team, not only the football team, but those men's women's basketball team, women's gymnastics team was huge. Those are my main core sports. And it was cool being thrown into the fire because people think football is the whatever for male. I think there's very dominant personalities with that men's women's basketball team and those women's gymnastics team. And I treated those athletes just as I didn't shortchange them because they weren't football players. And I gave them utmost respect, the athletes and their coaches.
I think it's interesting that you had a diverse background when it comes to different sports. Because a lot of times you see a lot of coaches kind of gravitate towards just football, and specifically in that silo. But how would you say your experience in terms of performance coaching has crafted how you now do your job now? Because I know you saw different types of athletes, different types of movement patterns, different types of injuries, demands on athletes, different types of load patterns, all those different things. How would you say like your experience working with multiple sports crafted to now your position working with pro athletes at the highest level?
I think it was important. It's important because you see the injury piece, you see like body mechanics, and it's like a lot of time people I feel like they now try to get too sports specific. Lower body's lower body, upper body's upper body. Different injuries that happen in males and females or pretty much across the board. And they definitely shaped to what I do now. Just seeing different things that work. Then whether it's return to play space or something like that, whether it was a basketball player or whatever, you can still use those same. It's not chest exercise is a football chest exercise or a lower body injury exercise. Not just that's a women's exercise. There's no gender attached to exercise. There's no certain sport attached to exercise. So
I could definitely relate. I know being in like working with baseball athletes, you see a lot of shoulder stuff.
Right.
So if I take what I learned from baseball athletes and their prep for shoulder and grip strength and apply it to football, now you're able to kind of take some of those skill sets from that particular space and those movement patterns and now apply it in another sport.
Definitely.
You see very similar things.
Right. Like a lot of talking about the shoulder or whatnot, since we're on strength and conditioning podcast, that strength and conditioning conversations type deal, see a lot of time you use a lot of that, the shoulder stuff that they do warm-ups and stuff like that. They'll use the same thing as almost in the quarterback.
Right.
Where you start seeing how much they throw. You use the same thing almost in a rotated cuff sometimes in a volleyball player. The swings and hits that they use and different stuff like that. Or sometimes you can use that almost looking at like a linebacker. Sometimes they have a lot of shoulder injuries,
Right.
stuff like that. You have those guys that are real hard hitters, stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So you were at Eastern Michigan.
Right.
And
Texas started coaching high school, which was awesome for me. I love the high schools I got a chance to work at. At that time, right after Eastern, I worked at 3 different ones. I worked at and I'm gonna name one since we're in the so respect to the coaches I work for and the athletes I work with. Galena Park, I was assistant DB coach, and I was a head strength coach. And talking about working with sports. When I first got there, I was a long-term sub to get to the school district. The women's coach there, they allowed me to do my thing first as a strength coach. I told them, hey, I'm a strength coach, whatnot. And I was long-term sub. I wasn't necessarily on the coaching staff, but I told them what I've done or whatnot. And so the women coaches on that staff at that high school, they utilized me first. And I appreciate them for that. And they watched and the football coaches, they started taking like to what I was doing. And I kind of moved over. They gave me a football job the next school year. I started helping out football and helping out the women as well. And just to give respect for those women, that female coach, they gave me my start at that high school. It was great, man. I coached some great athletes there. It was fun. I got a chance to do my thing. And I tell any young strength coach, if you don't have a voice somewhere, you need to be in front of athletes coaching. You can be behind those certifications, all that stuff is important. But being in front of athletes and people and voicing your opinion and being able to prove your program, it's just as important as well.
Honestly, I think the most of my development as a coach took place when I was working with high school athletes.
Yeah.
And the reason why is because now you're setting a foundation. You have to explain things very, 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 I guess you would say, keep it something stupid type of do.
Right.
Not saying anything stupid, but you have to keep it very fundamental, very clear, very concise, very straight to the point, and while still getting the fundamentals down. So I know that a lot of those experiences have now given me the ability to teach at a collegiate level, be able to to be able to communicate with athletes at a collegiate level. So I'm sure that experience gave you a lot to be able to relate to different types of athletes.
Yeah, it was great. It was great because, again, I worked at Galena Park High School, Mount Westbrook High School. I was outside backer coach and head strength coach, and that's when I got introduced to the world of powerlifting.
Okay.
And in Texas, sports is huge at a young in the high school level because at those schools that I've been at, the last high school I worked at was Port Arthur Memorial at that time. I was the D-line coach and head strength coach in Port Arthur. And I got several like high-level college athletes, and we was playing against high-level college athletes, guys that are like, now Jalen Hurts just won a Super Bowl. I got a chance to coach against him all 4 years. Time I was at Beaumont Westbrook.
That's something to see.
Put Arthur Memorial. Yeah, I watched him at 14 years old, watched him and his dad kind of like build him up, watch his dad do his thing with him, and while I was at every powerlifting meet with that, my kid tried to beat him. You know what I mean? On the football field and in the powerlifting meets. And also on the track, in a way to make my program fit, powerlifting and all sports. That's what I say, like, it's not sports specific, that's a loose term. You have certain things here and there, but for the most part, you stick to the basics, lower upper body strength, explosiveness, and doing it safe. You have to say program, it can work for all sports and all athletes.
Wow, that's something. So you went back, you were in a high school setting, went from obviously your starting position up here in cold, and went to a much warmer climate.
Right.
Got a chance to see different things from different perspectives. Where did you head to after that?
Okay, so I left Port Arthur Memorial High School, went to University of Tennessee for a season. That was great. I got a chance to work with like some very talented athletes, man, like Josh Dawes for the SEC, Josh Dawes, Alvin Kamara, man, Sean Golden, man, Emmanuel Mosley, Jalen Reed May, man. It was Derek Barnett. That team was loaded of talented guys that went on to play pros, and just see how they operated, how those guys think. They showed me at the SEC how you had some guys, by the time they were juniors, some guys were thinking NFL, some guys also think about getting a job. But it was just that there was a long spectrum, A to Z type of mindsets of athletes and what they need and what they look for, how to train a pro and whatnot. Different Cam Sutton, like him and Alvin, a lot of those guys, man. It's so many on that team, and I appreciate those guys taking me in with open arms. My man Mitch, my man Brandon Miles, guys on that staff, my man Nick, they opened me up, just working with how we train those guys and the mindset of those guys. And it was more than just, it was definitely not a yell, cuss, scream session. You had to treat those guys like pros, and I respect those guys, and they respect me, especially when I see a lot of those guys across the field on Sundays. And so, yeah, I left there, like I said, went to the Niners for 2, Kyle Shanahan, 2017, 2018. From there, back to U of H for 1. to XFL, next XFL, back to high school as a D-line coach and strength coach at Westfield High School. It was so much fun. And then to Jackson State with Prime them for about a month and a half to currently where I'm at today.
That is quite a journey.
Yeah.
I mean, especially when you consider you went from, working in Eastern Michigan, then you go to Texas working high schools, then you go to an SEC school, which obviously you see different resources, and then you go to 49ers, and you're getting a chance to now see things at NFL, and then you're in the XFL, which is more of a, developmental lead at that time. Work your way back to now you're with Prime for a little bit, see in typical situations like that. And I could just only share what I know is coming from the USFL to go into a JUCO to go into now another university. You see different types of resources.
Yes.
You see like some places have this, some places don't have this. You have different types of athletes, you have different types of resources available to you to do essentially the same job. How would you say that those different experiences have equipped you? Because I know like this is all these other things and a fully staffed, fully racked weight room, bumpers, med balls, turf fields, and all those other things, to now go into a place that doesn't have those resources.
Right.
And then you go to a place that's completely on the opposite end of the spectrum. How have all those experiences tied into you as a coach?
We didn't have a lot of money at Prairie View at the time. The weight room, shout out to all my guys I played with, lifting what we used to call the sweat box. And I watched how my coaches did it. You know what I mean? You got to be simplifying your movements. If you don't have the latest VBT stuff, you know what I mean? If you don't have GPS, use your naked eye. So our biggest thing, even with GPS, watching this dude that the naked eye can't see. So if I understand the dynamics of the game or the court, I need to be smart about what we're doing. If I know, if just watching a football practice or a basketball practice, if I know that coach ran our kids a bunch that day, I know I need to scale back in the weight room. You necessarily, in my opinion, you don't necessarily need, if you don't have it in your budget, to do something that you'll pay for GPS, and you already know what's actually going on.
Right.
Sports been around a long time, way before GPS, and it's going to continue to be around. But if you have it, it's a helpful tool, but it's not the Bible. I
think if you get into a space where you see a lot of this technology going forward, then it's great. However, I think what I tell a lot of my interns is, let's develop your coach's eye first. Make sure that you know what you're looking for before we get to things that make it more fancy.
Right.
When it's sure BBTs and all this other.
And even with all that, I think you got to understand your sport and your coaches. And a lot of time in the strength and conditioning space, we can sit here and talk in this podcast and go down a rabbit. But what good does that do if the teams you work for and the teams I work for, no matter what level, they don't understand what that stuff does.
Right.
So now you spend a bunch of money, and the coach is like, okay, you take a packet of money information, he just throw it to the side, and you just spend hours and hours and hours looking at data, which is good data. But if you can't apply it to your coach, your team, your sport, I think it's different other avenues to do what you got to do.
Tell me about the time when Coach Prime, how was that experience for you? I mean, you worked, you came from a HBCU, now you're working in an HBCU, and Prime is obviously, I think he's a phenomenal leader of men.
Right, Prime was awesome. He was awesome.
How did that experience working with him impact your coaching? Do you carry over to the weight room and the athletes you coach?
Right.
Or even how you carry yourself as a coach?
I think watching Prime do his thing, just being authentically himself, was perfect for me. Because sometimes I feel like I've been in situations where people didn't like or carry myself sometimes. Sometimes I feel like you deal with that almost as African-American coach. Mm-hmm. And watching Prime do his thing and be successful at it and being respectful of his craft and respectful of his staff. But he do with his own swag and his own personality. I thought that was amazing to see, just up close and personal. And I was able for me just to keep doing my thing the right way, as long as I be authentically myself. And I appreciate Prime for allowing me to work on his staff, and appreciate Prime for allowing me to see him do his thing, and just be authentically himself, and just coach hard, coach fair, treat people the right way, and you're able to do your thing. That was the biggest thing I took from Prime. But my career is level. I used to ride bike taxis. I think that's the neatest thing. That's how you get in the NFL and stuff like that, and how you start coaching. Well, I rode bike taxis in college. Like I said, I played in Prairie. We didn't have a lot of money necessarily. Like we wasn't no NIL back then. It was, man, everybody had a hustle on my team. Everybody had a hustle on my team. And one of my teammates put me gave me a hookup, like, hey, Keys, you can ride these bikes. Well, those bikes turned into a career almost. Well, I met a guy that changed my life, Ray Wright. Ray Wright's the head strength coach for the Texans at the time. He allowed me to come watch him work out. And I met him right literally in downtown Houston. He was hopping on the back of the bike. And every time I come home from like any job I had, I'd call him. I'd call him to check in on him. Hey, I'm in town, whatever. All right, cool. Then I tell him I'm doing this, doing that. Well, next thing you know, he hired me 12 years later to go to San Fran. That's how I got to San Fran. All through that connection I met. And I met right before I took that first GA job at Eastern. And it was like a week, I forget exactly how long, but it was not much after I left. I mean, I left City Houston, but that's when I met Prairie View college. And then I just watch him work out and train, and just watch him train. And through that experience, I got a chance to meet Tory Beckton. And who was now the head strength coach in Texas. Yeah, he was the one who talked to me in the weight room during that time period, and it's been a beautiful thing. And I appreciate Ray for giving me the opportunity. Ray also helped my little brother get opportunity in the NFL. My brother's a quarterback coach currently with the Texans at the moment, and but a lot of that started just riding a pedicab bike, and then definitely probably a huge part of my journey because I don't meet Ray and telling where I would be. There's no telling.
Honestly, I think it's great that you bring that up, which kind of segues into the whole idea of working in the AAPCA and us having this space for us.
Right.
I know our is iron sharpens iron, but I like to say I feel like we stand on the shoulders of giants. And the reason why I say that is because had it not been for people like yourself and Josh Woods, I wouldn't be in this space. I remember we were having conversations when I first started, just trying to get my first job. And God asked me to talk to Coach Woods, talk to you guys. You guys kept encouraging me through that process. Then Josh introduced me to Coach Woodfin. Woodfin gives me an opportunity to work in the USFL. USFL then leads to I go straight to a head job at Gulf Coast, and now I'm at DePaul University. So it's crazy how you see like these things happen. I guess my next question for you is, how has the AAPCA changed your life, and what impact are you wanting to see it in the future for other young men and other young coaches?
The AAPCA changed my life, just a network of more coaches. The more you know, the better opportunities you get, the better chances you get. And that's the biggest thing AAPCA done for me. Like, I remember we started the deal of COVID, and I remember just being like 10 coaches on there. The next thing you know, we have it a week or something later. It's 50 coaches. And I remember one time I looked out there, and everybody giving a call that speak for her. Like, they'll say they didn't know that many African-American coaches existed to now turn into what we have today, where we just had our third conference on the campus of Georgia Tech with some of the best speakers in the country speaking and giving up their time, giving up their Saturday and their weekend to just pour back into people that look like them, or then also other people. Man, the APCA is not just for African-Americans, it's for everybody. So it's an organization for everybody. I want to make sure I make that known.
Yes.
APCA is not just for African-American coaches, or have it started by African-American coaches for us to help each other and whatnot, but it's definitely an organization for everybody. I appreciate all different other races and nationalities that came out to the conference, that been on those Zoom calls, those different sponsors that help grow this organization, because we want to just keep this organization going.
What type of things would you say they should be reading? What type of advice would you have for young coaches right now?
I would say get in front of people and do your thing. Work, and work. Like, well, it's not just a networking piece, but if you can go train a group of people at a fitness class, a high school, get in front of people, write together, put programs, ask people about your program, and get in front of people where you have a voice, and find your own coaching voice. That's important for any young coach. You can read all the books in the world you want, but you can't apply it. And I think that's a problem. So I feel like you got to get in front of people and actually do the job. Whether it's if you're a young coach on the staff or whatever, and understand your coaches that you're working for, whether it's football, basketball, volleyball, whatever. Don't just be so caught up in the strength and conditioning aspect of it. Be a human. Go watch. Go understand the sports that you're coaching, the teams you have. So you understand why those players do certain things. Talk to those coaches about, or watch film with those coaches, whatever sport it may be. And your relationship with those coaches, not only the head coach, that's going to help you get jobs in the long run and keep a job. And also another thing I'll tell any young coach, be respectful to your athletes. Don't treat people how you want to be treated. You never know which one of those players at some point, whether you coach in high school, middle school, whatever it may be, and if you're still in the profession, you're going to need some kind of help somehow. I've talked to several head strength coaches in the league, or just help fit coaches in college as well, where they might be working for somebody that was a walk-on. You know, a lot of time in this coaching thing, you see people belittle people, kids or players that are not the star, and everybody does that, and it's not right. And like a lot of people do that, that's not right. Treat people how you want to be treated, and good things I feel like.
So I appreciate you taking time out of your schedule. I know you're here with the Scouting Combine, but I appreciate you taking time out. That's a conversation with me for this AAPCA podcast. Again, we're trying to just have real open conversations with different people in this space to provide you guys with an opportunity to get to know some of the members of the team, get to know other coaches that are a part of the African American Performance Coaches Association. Did you have anything else before we conclude?
No, I don't, man. Appreciate this. It was great.
Appreciate you guys. Be sure to subscribe to our channels. We'll be on YouTube as well as on our podcasting platform, Spotify. So be sure to become a part of this community. We're also on Instagram. You can find us at AAPCA. Be sure to follow that page as well so that you can tap in and see what we're up to. Until next time, we appreciate you.